fibre optics and photonics. Woohoo! Okay, great, thank you. I worked so hard. But no, 8 years of education, I feel like all I got is a sense of entitlement. But I really like this time of year because you see all the students going back to college and stuff, and I remember I was really excited about going to college. I wasn't great at making friends in secondary school, so I was really excited to go to college and completely reinvent myself. I was going to become the cool, sexy, popular person I was always supposed to be. So I chose physics. The perfect path into becoming cool, sexy, and popular. And like it was around this time at the start of college that I was starting to learn more about myself and learn more about things like my sexuality and accepting the fact that I was into girls as well as guys and people beyond the gender binary. So I was really excited to just explore this whole new side of myself, you know, and figure out what that meant for my identity. But turns out physics, not a great way to meet women. So, yeah. Not that it's a great way to meet men either. As the saying goes, your odds are good, but the goods are odd. Yeah. I know, I got on really well with the guys in my class though, and I hit it off with one guy in particular at the start. We liked the same music, watched the same TV, and I just felt like we clicked, you know. That was orientation and that was fine. Then the next week I saw him on campus and he completely blanked me. So I was like, okay, I didn't put much pass on it, whatever. I had waved at him like a fool, but you know, it's fine. It's grand. But then it happened again. And then it happened again. So I started to kind of spiral a bit. You know, you're kind of overwhelmed. This is the start of college. I was like, everything is going to be awful. I'm not going to have any friends. I may as well just settle in for 4 years of loneliness and probably a life of loneliness ahead. I was keeping it chill, you guys. Keeping it real chill. But I started to feel better though later that day when I saw him walking down the road beside his identical twin. So it all kind of fell into place. And I bumped into him at the gym later on and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe you didn't tell me you had a twin. He was like, why would I tell a stranger I have a twin? So, yeah. I'm not always the smoothest of operators. Before I was a physicist, I tried waitressing. I'm an okay physicist. I was not an okay waitress. No matter how hard the PhD is, it's not as hard as carrying hot plates for 10 hours. So there was one day I was particularly stressed, and there was one table and they were kind of laughing and joking, and I was like annoyed at them, and I was carrying hot plates and glasses and cutlery. It was off. And they were messing, saying, oh, that's not your real hair colour, that's not your natural hair colour. So I just said, look, I can't prove it to you now, but believe me, it's red everywhere else. I have to go to HR. So I don't know, I just seem to like get myself into these situations, even like in the lab, say. I am building an optical communication system, so it involves lots of measurements, lots of tests. So I listen to music on my phone to pass the time, grand. But I can't put my phone into my pocket because I'm a woman and we don't get those. So look, whatever, I make do. And here I was in the lab one day running tests, earphones in, bopping away, and one of the lads in the lab come over to me to ask me a question. So obviously I go to pause my music, and his face just drops. And I realised that from his perspective, he had asked me a question, I had looked at him confused and just put my hand down my top. Just reached for my boob. I was like, that is not what I was looking for. But, we've all had to do is store stuff there, put things in one side where there's a bit more room. But yeah. HR have recommended Bluetooth headphones now. I should have thought of that one sooner. But no, now that I'm coming to the end of the PhD, I'm updating my CV and trying to learn about what makes a job application more attractive to people. One of the studies that really stood out to me was one from America. So in this study, they sent out loads of different CVs to over 100 American science professors. And it turns out the one thing that you can do to make your CV more attractive is to have a male name. Yeah. It turns out that these CVs were all sent out, half had a female name, half had a male name. And the male applicant was consistently rated higher in terms of competence, hireability, and mentorship. Not only that, but he was offered $4,000 more in starting salary. Yeah, so that was a lovely afternoon for me. But so things like this really frustrate me as a woman in physics, especially when people still seem to believe that science is based on merit. But more than merit, I suppose, it really frustrates me when scientists don't see the true value in diversity. And this is something I'm really passionate about. And one way I like to explain this is by where you keep your ketchup at home. Stick with me on this. Okay, so I want you to give me a cheer if you keep your ketchup in the fridge. Okay? If you keep your ketchup in the cupboard. If any of you hate ketchup and think everyone else here is disgusting. Okay, we have some ketchup haters. Alright. Okay, suppose that first of all you like ketchup and you run out of it. If you are a person who keeps your ketchup in the fridge, you might think, oh, okay, instead maybe I'll use mayonnaise. If you keep your ketchup in the cupboard, I don't know, maybe use malt vinegar or give up and have crisps or something. But the key is that those two people, because they have different associations with ketchup, will have different solutions to the same problem. And this diversity of thought can be really important in fields like physics, where we're trying to constantly come up with new solutions to the same old problem. And research has shown that diverse teams can produce better results. So I get involved in lots of diversity initiatives, and I go out to schools and talk to people about physics and what I do. And one of the things that I come up with students is they think that only really smart people can do physics. And I say, look, people are smart and stupid in their own different ways. For example, when I was 9 years old, I was watching Star Trek with my dad. And you know the way at the start it says that their mission is to explore brave new worlds or something, and to boldly go where no man has gone before. So I don't know, this day I was just completely fed up with it. And I just sighed. I was like, this is me at 9, world weary. I was like, when are they going to get there? And my dad was like, what are you on about? And I was like, to boldly go, Dad. They say it at the start of every episode, but they never even talk about it in the show. And he had to write it down and explain that it wasn't in place. I think he was like, thank God I have 2 more after this one. But so I do this. I go to schools, I talk about my childhood, how I got into physics, I talk about my work, things like that. And what I try to do at the end is I try to get feedback from the students to see how I'm doing and to see what they're taking in. So I thought it would be fitting today to read one of my favourite feedback forms. Okay, so. Question 1. What did you like about this talk? Response. Nothing. Okay, good start. What did you not like about this talk? Response. Everything. Okay, please summarize this talk in 1 sentence. Response. Boring and weird. So, the great thing was though, when I brought that to my supervisor, she's great. She was like, Niamh, this is brilliant. I was like, what? She was like, he could have just said boring. So yeah, I'm Niamh Kavanagh, I've been boring and weird. Thank you very much.